Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we are going to be looking at the weekly reading for the sign of Libra, my beautiful air sign. We're going to pull out your romance angel messages right away. We have let go of control issues. We have very soon. This just came up, I believe, for Virgo. And we also have healing family issues. This is another card that's come up for quite a few of the readings this week, the soulmate readings and the weeklies. All right, so you may resonate with some of these messages, okay, or none at all. Of course, take what applies to you and enjoy throwing the rest away. We're going to pull out your animal spirit cards next and see what kind of animal spirits you're walking with this week. And animal spirits can often indicate times in our life where certain changes come in, certain events. It can also indicate certain sides of ourselves or qualities in ourselves that we are embodying at that moment in our lives, okay? The animal spirits all speak to archetypal messages and themes that are inherent in the human soul anyway. So none of these spirits are embodying anything that is outside the purview of the human spirit. So here we go. Let's see what we've got. We've got the hawk, which is, of course, air elemental. Beautiful frog energy, which is water element. Frog always makes an appearance in each week. And we have the vulture, also air element. Interesting. So before we get into your forecast for the week, let's just take a look at what those cards can mean. There is also eagle energy in the deck, but hawk energy is a slightly different. So with the hawk, we're talking about looking at the whole picture, right? Getting a view from an overview, I want to say, right? Not getting bogged down in the details. Certainly can indicate a keen sense of insight. Right, the hawk sees things that a lot of other animals do not see. It's a messenger of the divine, right? In general, the hawk is watchful, right? It's always circling, always watching, or ever presently keeping an eye on what's happening in our lives, right? And so in this way, not only is the hawk able to see the bigger picture, but it is also, in fact, able to hone in on the details when necessary, right? Usually when this card shows up, that means that fate is at work here, right? The winds are shifting, things are aligning, everything is kind of coming together in such a way to bring you to a very specific point, all right? It's very destined kind of energy or destined kind of shift in yourself. And it certainly brings with it a message from the divine, okay? So oftentimes when things happen to us as if they were meant to happen, this feeling of fate, it can be a message from our higher self, a message from the divine to open our eyes to a certain side of ourselves or to a certain way of looking at life, right? Now with the frog energy, which is of course water energy, the frog is beautiful. The frog brings with it purification. The rains come with the frog, the water comes, and with that always comes cleansing, healing, and purification. But what happens oftentimes with the frog is that the frog works quite tirelessly for other people, to help other people get through dark times, to help them also kind of purify darker sides of themselves. And so the frog can get very tired and often literally dried out in a way from helping everyone else. And it needs a lot of rejuvenation. Now, the vulture is interesting because the vulture is air quality, of course, air elemental. But the vulture clears out. The vulture is one of these animals that a lot of people are really grossed out by. You know, they eat carrion and dead things. It's like they hover and wait for things to die. But the truth of the matter is that the vulture's nature is to clear out the old and make room for the new. If it wasn't for the vulture, our ecosystem would, it would not be in balance, right? And so the vulture is a very necessary creature, very necessary animal to the whole sort of ecosystem in a way. And so it's a guardian. Again, another, another animal that symbolizes purification, right? Also, it can symbolize the need for a rebalancing, because the vulture is so integral to the balance of nature, right? When it shows up, it can remind us that sometimes things have become out of balance and that it's time for us to rebalance things in our lives, right? This is such a misunderstood animal. And oftentimes it is sort of tasked with a lot of the dirty work that a lot of, clearly, other animals don't do, only the vulture does. But in this way, its work is very altruistic, and its purpose is very beautiful indeed, right? Very beautiful. The value of the vulture the vulture itself is greatly undervalued, is what I want to say, right? Its need, the requirement for its essence is very much undervalued. Okay, so let's get into your spread, Libra, for the week. We're going to pull out 6 to 8 spreads. Forecast, 3-card forecast for the week in the areas of love, life, and career. And see what it's all hitting for you this week for our lovely air sign of Libra. Show me. Talking about August 25th to the 31st, of course. Let's get your spreads out. Judgment, Page of Wands, and 10 of Wands. All right, Judgment card comes in when we're starting to let go of ideas we have about ourselves, hang-ups perhaps, self-esteem issues, guilt trips. A lot of times, judgment and guilt go hand in hand. A lot of us harbor unnecessary guilt because we put ourselves through unnecessary judgment. When a judgment card comes into a reading, it's letting us know that we're at a time in our lives where we're ready to let go of that. Could indicate a rebalancing. It may have become out of balance, or I want to say that perhaps you've been really sort of judging yourself too much, putting way too much guilt on yourself over things that you have no reason to feel guilty over. And so in this way, you may need to rebalance sort of how you see yourself and how you see the actions that you've taken in life. Give yourself a chance. Forgive yourself. Judgment is all about forgiveness, and certainly forgiveness starts at home. Now, the Page of Wands is bringing in a new sense of ambition, a new sense of creativity, right? And it could be that this week you're really kind of like, you're feeling like this is all very indicative of clearing out and purifying, because we also have a 10 of Wands. And this Page of Wands, again, to go back to, it's almost as if you have kind of come across something that's reignited your passion or reignited your inspiration. And then, as a result, in order to follow that inspiration to its natural kind of end, you do need to clear out a lot of things. It's time to clear out things that no longer serve you, including unnecessary guilt. And also it's time to maybe put an end to a particular stage in your life where you've been carrying around a lot of burdens. 10 of Wands talks about carrying around burdens that ultimately we have used as a crutch, but now we realize that it is just, in fact, something that is hindering our forward momentum, and it's time to lay them down, right? This could be baggage in the form of self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, right? Insecurities, right? All of this kind of goes hand in hand with the Judgment card. And so I think that certainly this week you are feeling like it's time to let go, time to clear out the old and begin anew, time to certainly forgive yourself, and really give yourself almost like a new lease, a new chance to accomplish some of the things that you've always wanted really to accomplish. Seven of Wands, King of Cups, and we have Three of Discs. So Seven of Wands talks about fighting for your position, defending your stance, coming up with creative solutions to obstacles that are thrown in your way to ensure that you manifest your goals and your dreams. I want to say for some of you, you have a King of Cups in your life. So this is someone who feels very strongly about you, very protective of you. They have a deep sense of love for you. This could be a family member. All right. This could be a family member who is very nurturing. Male or female doesn't matter, but their energy is definitely a masculine, loving kind of masculine, almost fatherly kind of energy. But they're there and they want to support you, and they feel extremely protective of you is what I really get from this, right? They could very much be embodying hawk energy in the sense that they are watching everything. They're keeping an eye on what you're doing and what you're going through. It may be at a distance, or it may be that this week they actually come right into your life from a distance and want to kind of play a more pivotal role in providing support and making sure that you're okay. You're certainly receiving more accolades at work and more attention, and it could be that some of this battle that you're having is because of the attention that you're receiving at work, and it could certainly be that some people are very jealous of you, right? And you're having to kind of combat that. Justice. All right, Justice has come out pretty much for every single spread, zodiac spread in the weeklies. Justice, Ace of Pentacles, and Moon energy. So interestingly enough, out of a recent formality, I want to say maybe in business, right? A decision perhaps, or a redressing, a rebalancing. Here we go with rebalancing. There's been a rebalancing at work here in terms of what needs to happen, right? Justice, literally justice. When we talk about rebalancing, it's almost you get your justice, you know. Oftentimes this can come in the form of a business document or an actual real decision that's happened in court, or an agreement, a negotiation. This could also indicate sometimes a separation or a divorce when we're talking about relationships. But here we're talking about a redressing or a rebalancing of something that was quite unfair, perhaps in your career or at work. And this has come in, and on the heels of that, there's been this opportunity that's coming into you, this Ace of Pentacles. But this week, you're feeling quite wary about it. You're really not sure. It could be that you need to let go of some control issues, as the romance angels have indicated. But yeah, it seems like you have some apprehension about this opportunity. Although it looks great on the surface, you're really not sure if it is as good as it looks, and you really are trying to get to the deeper nature of why this is now coming out. This is all indicated by the Moon energy, and certainly this feeling of not knowing the whole picture and wanting to know more before you take up this opportunity. This, of course, happens for some of you this week. All right, here we have the High Priestess, Seven of Swords, and Queen of Cups. High Priestess, we were just actually having a discussion about the High Priestess on one of the tarot boards that I'm on Facebook, and it's quite interesting how often this card is absolutely misinterpreted. The High Priestess is the guardian of secrets. She is the guardian of everything that we need in terms of increasing our intuitive ability and our self-confidence. She guards these secrets because they're just not given to everyone, right? You have to work for this, right? The High Priestess, one of the lessons of the High Priestess card is that she doesn't tell you how to tap into your intuition. She doesn't tell you how to gain self-confidence. She simply sits there and she gives you these signs, and if you work and if you actually pay attention, you understand and know from the High Priestess that you can only learn true intuitive ability and increase your confidence by walking the path that she's walked, which is living life, going through trials and tribulations, and truly learning the most that you can learn from each situation. If you only ever come from an egoist point of view, you will never get to the secret of what makes our intuitive abilities increase, right? You will never understand that. And somebody was asking, well, what are the secrets? Well, That's the whole point. The secrets are individual for each person. You learn these things as you learn from life. Right? As you learn to go through life and navigate life, as you learn about yourself and how you react in certain scenarios, you begin to understand others as well. But in order to do that, you have to have humility. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be able to accept when you're wrong. You have to be able to accept when you maybe made a mistake about something. All of these things are the things that we have to learn and accept in order to increase our intuitive ability. But this week, certainly, there is an increase in that. You are being asked to kind of tap into the inner voice that you have, that we all have inside of us, and to follow that voice with confidence. Again, the High Priestess is the highest card in the deck for self-confidence. And so you're being asked to really trust your inner voice. There is someone behind the scenes who is not playing fairly. This could be somebody very close to you who's kind of plotting to take the wind out of your sails. They're not happy with the moves that you're making. They're not happy with the achievements that you're getting. And they literally almost want to steal your thunder. They almost want to take or covet your dreams. Seven of Swords talks about when somebody desires something so strongly that they don't want to work for it, they'd rather just take it, right? Or steal it or cheat to get it, because they just don't feel like putting the work in, right? They feel like work is a waste of time. Either way, they think they're going to win or they're going to come out on top anyway. So why put the work in? Why not just take what they want? Okay, it's a very, very egocentric attitude. And oftentimes, this can happen to us at the hands of those who are closest to us. All right. I want to say that some of you are dealing with a Queen of Cups individual in your life. And it could very well be that you're trying to get closer to this person. It could also be that your connection with this Queen of Cups, right? With this very nurturing and loving person. Somebody wants to covet this connection you have with this individual. Queen of Cups can certainly be a lover, right? It could be a lover, or it could just be somebody that you're very, very close to. But there is someone who wants to covet this relationship you have with the Queen of Wands. They may wish to take what it is that you have, that you're achieving as you are embodying the High Priestess, right? Some of you Librans may also be kind of like too open, okay? So you may be embodying Queen of Cups energy in the sense that you're being a little bit too open with your feelings, a little bit too honest, and someone around you is taking advantage of that honesty. So for some of you, there's someone who's trying to interfere with your relationship with a Queen of Cups, and then for some of you, you are embodying Queen of Cups yourself, and there's somebody very close to you who's kind of taking advantage of that. But you will only know this if you listen to your inner voice, because I think you're going to be quite shocked as to who has been behind some of these antics in your life. King of Swords, Emperor energy, and the Tower. Wow. Okay, so some of you are having a real kind of battle of wills. All right. King of Swords and Emperor energy. Emperor is, of course, Aries energy. So we have air and fire going head to head, and it is a real explosion. This is certainly about control issues and healing family issues, I want to say. Yeah, some of you may be embodying King of Swords, and you are coming up against an Emperor, right? And so Swords being air, of course, you could be embodying this King of Swords sort of attitude, this desire to get at the truth, this desire to have an open and honest exchange. But the Emperor is being perhaps a bit cagey. The Emperor can certainly be very single-minded and very self-centered in a lot of ways, overly strict and disciplinarian, excuse me. And can also be rigid at times, right? And unyielding. And so you're having a real battle here. But I think the dynamic is that Libra, with you embodying this King of Swords, you're maybe in these conversations that you may be having with the Emperor this week, or in the encounters that you're having with this individual, you may be laying down some truths and some honesty that up until now you haven't been willing to really lay down as strongly as now. And it's really causing this entire tower that has been built up to crumble. Things are very much going to change. And oftentimes tower energy comes in right before there's a huge amount of healing. Remember, two of these animal spirits are certainly aligned with purification and healing, right? And clearing out the old to make way for the new. And certainly some of you are going through that very heavily this week with a very formidable individual. And there is going to certainly be a lot more fallout before you get to that reconciliation stage, or before you get to that next stage of maybe moving towards progress. Right now it's the tearing down of the old that's happening, and this has to happen before you guys can rebuild this relationship positively. All right, this is the last spread. 9 of Cups, King of Wands, and we have Queen of Swords again. Wow. So again, we have, this is the last spread, like I said, but we have another kind of battle of wills here. We have Knight of Wands, again, another air and fire battle. A real head-to-head. Pretty much very similar to what was discussed earlier, but in this scenario, we're talking about a wish fulfillment. So it could be that in this scenario, for some of you, the healing is happening. You have been at odds. You can see these two characters are facing away from each other. They've been at odds for a very long time. And for some of you, a great wish has been to kind of heal this chasm, to heal this fallout that's happened. And this week you get an opportunity to do that. How do you do that? By letting go of control issues, by having these conversations, purifying some of this bad blood with honesty, with being able to see the entire picture, right? Being able to see the whole picture, and also being able to hone in on some of the details that have led to this kind of breakdown in communication. But again, some of you, your greatest wish is for these two individuals to get together, or if you are embodying either one of these individuals, to get back together with the other one in a better way of communicating. And certainly this week you have an opportunity to do that. All right, guys, this is your weekly reading, Libra, for the August 25th to the 31st. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share the video with your other fellow Librans. Follow me on Facebook at Bow Arrow Tarot. Follow me on Patreon at Bow and Arrow Tarot on Patreon. But for right now, I'm just going to say, Libra, have a wonderful week. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.